7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Latina Diaspora. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or watching this channel for the first time, what we do here is we discuss issues pertaining to Latinos living in the United States. Of course, I have my main channel, which is called Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron, where I discuss everyday issues and we try to find logical solutions. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Also, the subscriber mode has been enabled for the first 5 minutes, meaning if you're not a subscriber and if you wish to enter a comment in the chat, you will need to subscribe to the channel. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who have already subscribed to the channel. Whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or just recently joined, I really appreciate your love and continued support. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media, as well as all those who allow me to enter into your devices, and those who watch from the clouds, even the haters. So what I'm going to ask you to do is subscribe, like, and set the bell notifications to all. So therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. So as you can see by the thumbnail tonight, the topic is famous Latinas, being that we are in Women History Month. So I'm going to be talking about some of the achievements that some of our Latinas have achieved. Before we get into the main topic, we're going to have another episode of In My Words. Well, in all fairness, I don't have a great deal to talk about, other than the fact, of course, we're in the month of March, which means winter will soon be departing, and we'll enter into spring, okay, which signify rebirth. Also, the fact that the days are getting longer. And the temperature will slowly but surely start to rise. And for those of you who do not like cold weather, I know that you're looking forward to it. Okay. In some ways, I'm looking forward to the spring because it is rebirth. Also, plants start to bloom. You see the leaves, and you see all nature's colors. Okay, the greens, the reds, the blues, and it all shows how great and wonderful our Creator is. That God created everything, from the leaves and the plants, and when we see the sun, it just shows how wonderful God is. And of course, For those of you who are into college basketball, you'll soon be entering what's called March Madness. That's when collegiate basketball teams will be competing to enter into the 64 team NCAA you know championship series, where 64 teams will vie to be the number one collegiate basketball team, whether it be men's or women's. Okay, so it's something to consider, and of course, it's bragging rights for the university that's number one, and of course, it also means bringing in money for the athletic program. And of course, when I was in college, of course, I was a supporter of many of um, sports teams, mainly basketball, baseball, and soccer. So, with that being said, we're going to get into the main topic. Now, let me just state for the record that the link to join the panel has been pinned. Should anyone wishes to hit that link and opine regarding the topic at hand, they may do so. Let me make this perfectly clear. If I never see you before, if I never heard from you before, I will insist that you come up in the backstage to make sure that no one tries to flash any adult-related content, which will cause the people of YouTube to take down the stream. Once I determine that you're not going to do any of those shenanigans, then I'll let you on the panel. Okay. Just give me a moment. Okay. Let me just check and see if anybody's watching. Okay. So let's talk about, okay, excuse me. So let's talk about some of the achievements that famous Latinas have achieved. So the first one I'm going to start with is she is the first Latina to serve on the Supreme Court. And I'm talking about Sonia Sotomayor. In 2009, Sonia Sotomayor broke boundaries by becoming the first Latina and third woman to serve on the Supreme Court of the United States, the highest court in the country. Sotomayor was born in New York City to Puerto Rican parents. She grew up in the Bronx. Their houses, a public housing project in the Bronx. Through perseverance and determination, she received degrees from Princeton University and Yale Law School. As a Supreme Court justice, she has ruled to uphold the Affordable Care Act and legalize same-sex marriages. Now, I'm not saying that I'm in agreement with same-sex marriages. I'm just simply stating what's been her achievements. The next person that we're going to highlight is Margaret Villa. Okay. She broke the gender barriers in the 1940s, one of the few women professional baseball players in the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League. The AAGPBL was started on the onset of World War II to keep baseball in the public eye during the war. In her career, Villa set records for RBIs, that's run batting, and total bases in the game. So now, the next person that we're going to highlight is Ellen Ochoa. Okay. Childers. Or as I should say, Dr. Eleanor Childers. She became the first Latina to go to space when she flew aboard the Space Shuttle Discovery. Her inspiration journey includes a 30-year career with NASA, serving as Johnson Space Center's first Hispanic director. As a physicist and astronaut, she also inspired many to follow her footsteps. Now we're going to go to another Latina, not all that familiar, but just as important. Her name is Olga E. Custodio. She was born in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and served in the United States Air Force for 24 years. She made history as the first Latina U.S. military pilot. And now we're going to focus on politics. So the next Latina we're going to talk about, her name is Elena Ross Letinen. Born in Cuba, Rosa Letinen became a trailblazer as the first Latina elected to the U.S. Congress. She served representative from Florida from 1989 to 2019. Excuse me. Now the next person we're going to highlight, her name is Olivia Cadaval. She is a Latina stenographer and former program curator for the Smithsonian Center for Folk Life and Cultural Heritage. Cadaval has made history here at the Smithsonian as a Latina trailblazer. The next person we're going to highlight, her name is Ernesta Samuel. Ernesta Samuel grew up in the Panama Canal Zone. Her father moved to Montserrat to work on the canal. The U.S.-controlled canal zone was racially segregated, and as Black Caribbean workers were paid lower wages. As a teenager, Samuel rejected the system and opened her own beauty salon. In 1950, she immigrated to Brooklyn, New York. There she founded a scholarship organization for Panamanian students called Las Servidoras, later renamed the Dictadoras. Interesting. The next person that we're going to highlight, her name is Nina Otero Warren. As a Latina suffragist, Nina Otero Warren served as head of the New Mexico chapter of the Congressional Union and helped run bilingual campaign for the vote. The next person, okay, we're going to highlight, and I'm going to just address this person with the name that person submit, is Adela Vasquez. Adela Vasquez is a Cuban transgender HIV/AIDS activist. This individual left Cuba in the 1980s, Marriott boat lift. Vasquez eventually settled in San Francisco, where her activism began with supporting trans women who were battling AIDS. Vasquez later joined the staff at Proyecto Contra SIDA, Pro Vida, that's English translation, Project for Life Against AIDS, from 1993 to 2005. She was a Latina HIV prevention organization in San Francisco's Mission District. Okay, the next person I'm going to highlight is a champion in the labor movement. So I'm talking about Dolores Huerta. Okay, and here is a famous quote from her, which is, "We as women should shine our light on our accomplishments, not feel egotistical when we do. It's a way to let the world know that we as women can accomplish great things." Excuse me. Dolores Huerta is an activist, feminist, and labor organizer. Huerta's upbringing in Stockton, California, surrounded by diverse cultures, influenced her career fighting for the rights of many. She co-founded the United Farm Workers, the UFW Union, and coined the popular phrase, "Si se puede." Yes, we can. Now, the next person that I'm going to highlight is Casida Luna. Now, Casida Luna is a community builder and activist in Washington, D.C., Adlin Morgan's neighborhood. Luna immigrated to the United States from the Dominican Republic in 1962. She soon began organizing weekly community gatherings, which grew into discussions about social issues her community faced. Luna rallied her neighbors and with local Latino community on topics such as fair housing and care for senior citizens. In December 2021, at 97 years old, she won the Oscar de la Renta Dominican Immigrant Award. I didn't even know that such an award existed, but now we know. The next person we're going to highlight is Ellen Rodriguez Trias. And there is a quote, "No one is going to have quality of life unless we support everyone's quality of life." Okay, let's see. Okay. Now, Latinos and Latinas have fought for civil rights. Puerto Rican physicist Helen Rodriguez Trias, who was born in 1929, passed away in 2001, was one of them. A reproductive rights and public health advocate, she worked to increase access to quality health care for women and children. She also fought to abolish forced sterilization. She was the first Latina to serve as president of the American Public Health Association. In 2001, she received a Presidential Citizens Medal for her work in public health and AIDS advocacy. The next Latina that we're going to highlight, her name is Sylvia Rivera. Now, let me just read her. Latinos and Latino boundary breakers have shaped U.S. history. Latino groups have fought for fair labor practice, education access, safe housing, immigration, and criminal justice reform, and LGBT rights, among other issues. Puerto Rican Venezuelan activist Sylvia Rivera, who was born in 1951, passed away in 2002. She was an individual who fought for gay and transgender communities in New York City, focusing on issues like homelessness and employment. Okay. So she's well-known activist around the LGBTQ plus community. The next person that I want to highlight, her name is Judy Baca, who, okay, Judy Baca envisions community murals as public spaces for retelling history, including everybody's stories. In 1976, she founded the Social and Public Arts Resource Center, which is known as SPARC. First involved with young people as co-creators as one of the largest murals in the United States, the Great Wall of Los Angeles. Baca's artwork represents the stories not just of Mexican Americans, but all the people who have been contributed to U.S. history but have been disenfranchised from it, including African and Asian Americans, indigenous peoples, and others. She's deeply interested in creating equitable public spaces that honor community memories and uplift neighbors. So the next person we're going to highlight is the fashion industry. So the next person we're going to highlight is Carolina Herrera. Raised in Venezuela, Carolina Herrera arrived in the United States with her family in 1980. Inspired by her European travels and attendance at fashion shows, she launched a clothing brand in New York just 1 year later. In 1981, the fashion designer brand continues to be known for timeless, stylish pieces. Now we're going to get into the arts. The next person we're going to highlight is Ana Mendieta, a Cuban American performer artist. Ana Mendieta created a range of artistic works that drew from her experience of exile and displacement. She used photography, film, video, and drawing, and more to craft groundbreaking and transformational pieces. Now the next person we're going to highlight is someone active in Broadway. Her name is Diosa Costello. Costello's decades-long career included performances on Broadway, in films, in nightclubs, and more. Her electric and passionate style paved the way for future generations of Latina performers. So the next Latina that we're going to highlight is America Ferreira. And I'm going to just share a quote on her. I realized how Latina I was, and then also at the same time how not Latina enough I was because I was born and raised in Los Angeles. I speak Spanish, but I don't speak perfect Spanish, not like a native speaker. That sounds like something that a lot of Puerto Ricans from the diaspora deal with. Now, America Ferrera has been an acclaimed career so far as an actress, producer, and director. She received numerous awards for her work, including an Emmy, a Golden Globe, and a Screen Actor Guild Award. Born in Los Angeles to Honduran parents, Ferrera had been an advocate for increased Latina representation in the media throughout her career. And of course, any Latina should happen to know the Queen of Salsa, known as Celia Cruz, who was instrumental in the growing popularity of salsa music, and her wide fan base helped to shine a spotlight on Latina music in the United States. Throughout her career, Cruz received many honors, including the Presidential National Medal of Arts in 2016, the Grammys, who was given a posthumous lifetime achievement award. And of course, we're going to talk about Selena, who unfortunately was deleted before, years ago. And there's a quote from her. There's a lot of men who don't think women can get attention of the public, but wrong. Known as the Queen of Tejano, Selena was instrumental in opening doors for a future generation of Latino musicians. She began performing Tejano music with her Mexican-American family at a very young age. In 1994, she became the first Tejano artist to win a Grammy. Despite her untimely end, Selena had a very accomplished career that continues to inspire a generation of musicians and fans. And let's see, I think we have okay, I'm just gonna focus on one or two more and then we're just gonna call it a day. The next person I wish to highlight, her name is Laura Rodriguez de Tio. Rodriguez de Tio inspired revolutionaries as a poet, feminist, and political activist. She was a strong champion for the independence of Puerto Rico and wrote the original lyrics of the Puerto Rican Revolutionary Anthem. The next person that I wish to highlight, her name is Sandra Cisneros. And I'm just going to read a quote. I have to understand my ancestors, my father, his mother, and his mother to understand who I am. She is a National Medal of the Arts recipient. Cisneros is a leading Latina voice in literature. She is also a pioneer in the industry. In 1995, she became the first Latina to be named a MacArthur Fellow. And I'm just going to make one more and then we'll call it a night. The last person I wish to highlight is Luisa Capatillo, who was born in 1879 and passed away in 1922, was a Puerto Rican of European descent. Before Luisa turned 20, the United States took control of Puerto Rico after Spain lost in the Spanish-American War. Capatillo was an organizer and feminist. She worked with the Free Federation of Workers. This important Puerto Rican labor organization was founded in 1899. Capatillo connected with workers by reading in tobacco factories during the early 1900s. She rejected gender norms and supported labor strikes. Capatillo also published books and edited the magazine La Mujer, otherwise known as The Woman. Okay, so let me just see. So as you can see, just to give you an idea of some of the achievements that Latina women have gained. I can go on, but I just wanted to give you an example of this. I also plan to discuss regarding some of the achievements regarding what women achieved during Women History Month on my other channel, which goes to show that women can do many things if given the inspiration, if given the ability, if given the opportunity to do so. Unfortunately, some people refer to women as the weaker sex or as an object of lust. There are many things that women can do, and there are things that women can do better than men. So, with that, just want to state that I will be live Friday night on my main channel, which is Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron, where I'll have another episode of open discussion. And for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with what goes on, I will share my views regarding several topics, and of course the audience will have an opportunity to opine, and also the audience will have an opportunity to suggest things that they want me to talk about. So we can talk about anything and almost everything. So with that being said, I'm going to call this a night. Play back in, do your whole thing. You're more than welcome to enter whatever comments that you wish. Just try to keep it respectable. We don't always have to agree. And of course, I'm gonna close the same way that we always close. We must do everything possible to avoid the persons that are mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by the stupidity and mass insanity. And of course, whatever we say or do, we should do for the glory of God. And with that being said, I thank you very much. Take care, stay blessed, and
be strong.
Be strong.